Gosh, I'm already 10 minutes over. Okay, Stat 1399. Here's how the banking system works. It's real simple. Let's say we're all here as a group. We're going to donate money. We're going to put it in this pot. We're going to come up with $4 million because that's the minimum you have to open a bank. We're all going to be board members or whatever in the bank, and we're going to have our election and all that. And so now we get this established, and then what we do is we turn around. Now we're already what they call a branch bank of the Federal Reserve Bank. We're a branch bank. We're like Chase is, or the ones that you would go here, some of the local Wells Fargo's and stuff like that, Bank of America. Those are all branch banks, but they're members of the Federal Reserve banking system. And it's a system, it's not a bank. But here's what we do. We take the $4 million, and which probably many of you have done, and we write a bond. We create a bond for $4 million. Then we take that and we turn that in to the Federal Reserve Bank. The Federal Reserve Bank receives that. This is all in Stat 1399. 13 Stat 99. I'm not telling you something that's not written down. I back everything up. Then they take that bond, the Federal Reserve Bank, and they register the bond. They log the bond in. And then they take it over to the Treasurer of the United States. Actually, the Secretary of the Treasury. It goes into an office in his department, and he turns around and he authenticates it. He registers it. Our bonds, we use the registered mailing as a registration. Well, they don't recognize that. They don't recognize it because it's not registered by the Secretary of the Treasury. It doesn't have his registration number. Got to have his. All right, so they put a registration number on it. Now the Federal Reserve Bank takes that bond and they go over to the Treasurer for the United States. They're on your bill, and their names are right on any bill you have in your wallet or your purse. And the Treasurer says, okay, you got $4 million, then we're going to cut you either credit in terms of the electronic ledger, or we're going to give you $3,600,000. They're going to take $40,000 off, or whatever it is. Yeah, $400,000, whatever. Anyway, they're going to take $400,000 off, which is 10%. Okay, now, the Federal Reserve Bank, they get a copy of that registered bond because the Treasurer keeps the original. They get a copy, they get a receipt for that copy, and then they go back and deposit the $3,400,000 or $3,600,000 into their account. And from that account, they send to us 75%, which is $3 million. So our bank gets $3 million. So now we got $4 million here that we wrote a bond on. That's what we all use to fund the bank. And then we get another $3 million from the Federal Reserve Bank, of which we're a branch bank. This is called fractionalized banking, and they're doing it today because the act has not changed.
So we've got 7 million modern money mechanics.
So, yes, modern money mechanics, which there's a false one floating around here too. There's two. There's one that's not right and one that is. Yes, go ahead.
I was just asking, is that giving our banks...
Now we've got $7 million.
To transact with...
Oh, but it gets better. What's your name? Jim. Oh, Jim. Jim, this gets better. It is so good for us. Because here's what we're going to do, Jim.
Us being the bank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We get to 10 times that.
Well, no, wait. No, it gets better than that.
Better than 70 million.
You have no idea how this is going to balloon for us. I'm telling you, this is wonderful. Okay, so now, guess what we get to do? We get to take $3,600,000 and disperse it back to every one of us. Whatever amount you put in, you get 90% of it back. Now we're going to take the $3 million, and guess what we're going to do with that?
Same thing.
No, we're going to loan it out. You know, Jim, there's all kinds of people out there. They need to borrow money for cars. They need to borrow money for houses. We're going to loan them the money.
Except the statutes don't allow me the money for loaning.
But wait a minute. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to take those promissory notes, right? Well, we can't hold them because the statute won't let us hold them, so we got to sell them, right? So we turn around and we sell them. Guess what? We sell them for more than the face value because we're going to go ahead and market it on the open market, right? So we're going to monetize all these promissory notes. See where we're going with this? We pooled them up. We're going to monetize the promissory notes, and guess what? I bet we can get at least $4,500,000. Then what we'll do is we'll write a bond for that, and we're going to send that back to the Federal Reserve. See how it works? That's exactly what's going on right now. And that's how your promissory note creates money, because when every time they write a bond and they go to the treasurer or they go to the secretary of the treasury and get it registered, and then they go to the treasurer and the treasurer gives them credit, what does that do to the money supply? It expands the money supply, right? And a dollar, what we call a dollar, gets devalued. That's exactly how it works. Now, look, 13, stat 99. Am I boring you or are you just tired? Okay, all right.
What is the dollar?
Huh?
What is the dollar?
What is the dollar? Well, we don't have dollars anymore.
What is a dollar?
A dollar, all a dollar is it's a medium of exchange. It's whatever somebody is going to take for it. Okay, what's your definition?
No, that's a Federal Reserve.
That's a Federal Reserve note. That's a note. That's a note of debt right there. That's not a dollar.
That's
Yes.
$1.
It doesn't matter. I can take a piece of toilet paper and write a dollar on it too. It doesn't make it a dollar.
Right.
By the Federal Reserve and the Supreme Court, it's all been admitted as evidence. A dollar is one thing and one thing only. 1 ounce of fine silver.
Oh, well, okay. You're going back to the pre-Civil War definition, yeah. Okay. So now, how does this all work with foreclosures? They can't hold the promissory notes. We know that. Well, we know that they pooled the loans because they nearly collapsed the whole banking system around the world. We know they pooled the loans and they sold these loans and monetized them and expanded the money supply exponentially. This is why they stopped counting 3M money, I think it was 2 years ago. They didn't want anybody to know what the money supply, how fast it was growing, because it was just going off the charts and still is. And you can probably feel it in your wallet every time you go to the market or every time you go to buy something. All the consumer goods now are much more expensive than they were 4 or 5 years ago. Take a look at gasoline. That's a good example.
Food's outrageous.
Yeah, food's really getting expensive. Okay, so now, we know they can't hold the promissory note, so how do they foreclose on the home? Okay, well, let's take a look at some other things. We gotta, and I'm sorry if I get this incorrect, I think it's Title 15 is the securities statute, but I'm not sure. It might be, I may be getting that confused with the RESPA, but anyway. The security statute, which I believe is Title 15, says that a mortgage is a Class 4 security. And it also says in there that a Class 4 security cannot be held by a bank. That Class 4 security is a residential mortgage and cannot be held by a bank. They can only sell and purchase Class 4 securities. And I can send you the law on this, so just put a little note, send law, and, you know, I'll send you the law on all this stuff, whatever you want me to send the law on, because I'm not telling you anything I don't have the law on. Okay, so now we know they can only buy and sell. Well, it even gets better than this. We have something called the banking title, which is Title 12. Yes, you have a question, sir?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Title 12 is the banking regulations. Now, I'm not going to get the specific section straight here, but I'm going to give you the general number. At least I'm going to be close. I think it's section 265. It could be 264. Section 265 or 264 of Title 12 is an agreement. Oh, yeah. It's an agreement between the Treasurer of the United States and the bank, whether it's a branch bank or whether it's the Federal Reserve Bank. It is an agreement. And guess what it says? They're an agency of the government.
The bank.
The bank. So, Jim, it's Jim, right?
Yes.
Our bank now is a federal agency. That's the downside I didn't tell you when we started all this, see? So now they're a federal agency. Okay. So now we have to keep looking through this stuff, and we find out that under Title 12, that on a federally related loan, only the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development can foreclose.